Hey guys, welcome back. Dynasty Football Live here. We're coming at you today with the NFC West. I really like this division, as I do most of the divisions. I really think there's a lot of heat at the top of this division. I think there has been a lot of changes in this division from the last year till now. And we're going to dive into the bottom of the NFC West right here. Who do you got at the Lone Ranger at the bottom here in the NFC West?
I got Arizona, man. I think, obviously they lost Hopkins, or not lost him, but released him. And Murray had a tough ACL injury last year. He's not going to start the season this year. We don't know exactly when he's going to, play. So right there, that gives you an idea why they're last. They say that they're probably going to have the first pick in the draft. They already got a pick from the Texans. We'll see what that amounts to. But right now they have Colt McCoy starting. I wouldn't sleep on Clayton Toombs though, man. At Houston, he was quite a good quarterback. I know, obviously, we're not talking about SEC or anything, even though they're in the Big 12 now. I really, really like him, and I thought it was a good draft pick for them, even though they have Murray. I really, really like Toombs, and he made some plays, in his college career, kind of being slept on. James Conner, never been a huge James Conner fan, even though he kind of blew up. He blew up, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Or not last year, but the year before last.
No, last year was his money-making year.
Yeah.
No,
So,
year before last.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
year before last. Yeah.
You're right.
So I'm never been a huge, supporter for sure. Great story, had cancer and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and also it just as a player, something about him, I just don't. I'm not a huge fan. Keontae Ingram is the name we need to keep in mind as far as fantasy wise. He kind of splashed a little bit last year. Not a lot of opportunities, but when he did get some, he was. I thought he was pretty impressive. After that, they really don't have a lot going on in the running back room, so we'll see what happens there. We'll see if Connor can continue to be the guy, especially with Ingram kind of showing something last year. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. My buddy Joey, he's a huge Hollywood Brown fan. I kind of was too, but some of that shine is kind of, he's not as shiny and cool as he used to be when he was drafted out of Oklahoma. They made a huge deal about the Murray Brown, 1-2 punch, reunion or whatever. And I don't know, man. I'm just not a huge Brown believer. I think he blamed a lot of his play or lack of playmaking ability on the Ravens' style of offense, essentially Lamar. And I think if he can make play, I know Lamar was feeding Andrews, but if you're good, you're going to make plays. And I don't know. I think he would have done something by now. And he's the number one guy right now. We'll see if that stays. Rondell Moore. I'm an owner of Rondell Moore. I got him in a trade, and I've been kind of waiting, like maybe most of you, to kind of see if we're going to get some return on investment. I think this has to be the year. They have no one at wide receiver as far as a number one guy. Rondell Moore was sort of like a Steve Smith comp coming out of college. Definitely a lot of production. Size doesn't matter. He's extremely fast, very strong. Dortch made some plays last year. We'll see what happens there. Michael Wilson out of Stanford made a lot of noise last year, or not last year, but during the offseason, in the combine and Senior Bowl and all that. He was a highly touted receiver coming out of high school. Unfortunately, a lot of injuries, but when he's healthy, he's kind of like Luke Musgrove, for the Packers, tight end, in the sense that a lot of potential, highly recruited, and you can see flashes of, man, this guy's gonna be good. And then he has injuries that's kind of slowed down his career, which is why he was drafted where he was.
Yeah.
So he may come out to be kind of the dark horse, to really, really make some plays here, especially with that size. Every other receiver there is smallish. And Michael Wilson is, I believe, is 6'2", 6'3", 205, 210, something like that. So we'll see what happens there. Trey McBride, man, I think for me, coming out of college, to me, he was Jason Witten. You know, he's not gonna surprise you. He's not gonna, fool you with his speed or outrun you or whatever. But his route running is next level. His hands are very, very good, and he finds ways to get open. I think that this year is going to be the year where he breaks out, especially with Zach Ertz coming back from a tough injury and being older. But yeah, for me, Zach Witten is the comparison for me, and I know it's not. I'm not breaking any news here as far as that comp, but I really, really like him, huh?
Jason Witten, you said Zach Witten.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my buddy Zach over here. Yeah, Jason Witten. I should have gotten, dude. That's Tennessee. I'm embarrassed. Anyways, yeah. Oh, I was looking at Zach Ertz. That's what happened. I was looking at Zach Ertz right below him. Anyways, yeah, Jason Witten.
It'd be a hell of a tight end though if you could morph Zach and Jason together. Jeez, that'd be unfair.
Yeah, because Zach has a little more speed. So, but yeah. Anyways, I think he'll find a way to get open and really kind of be maybe the focal point of this offense. I mean, who do they have? I don't know. A lot of questions. That's what they're last for me. Defensively, they should be better than they are. Isaiah Simmons coming out of Clemson was supposed to be this star. Didn't really have a position, but they drafted him, and now he's a safety. Maybe he's a linebacker. Maybe he's both. No one knows. Zaven Collins kind of broke out last year. Just a lot of questions. Very excited about Ojulari, though. I know you were in his bandwagon, and we'll see if they keep Buda Baker. But I mean, for me, it has to be Arizona. There's no question. They have a lot of question marks, and it's kind of. I feel bad for Cardinal fans. For a while there, it looked like they were going to be the team, and now they're kind of rebuilding again.
I don't feel bad for them at all after they fleeced us for freaking DeAndre Hopkins and then, stole our freaking, Hall of Fame defensive end and J.J. Watt. So, sorry, Cardinals. You're at the bottom now. Ha.
Sorry, not sorry. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. So, anyways, yeah, I think they're number one pick next year. That's the kind of team you're going to see. If Kyler Murray doesn't say screw it and come out and ruin their picks, which I think he's going to, I think Kyler Murray is going to come back and ball out this year. For some crazy reason, I just think this team's picking mid first round. I mean, mid to early first round. Like I would say a top 10 pick for sure, but I don't think their number one overall pick with Kyler Murray at quarterback. I'm not believing that. Unless they're like, hey, Kyler, we're benching you. There's no way you can convince me that this is the suckiest team in the NFL. With that being said, I do like a lot of people that you talked about there. I do feel like this is Rondale Moore season and Trey McBride season on this team. Mm-hmm. I think those are the two big-time targets that you need to look for coming out of the Cardinals for Dynasty. So I'm going to move up to the third place team here, and it's the Los Angeles Rams. The team that was just celebrating the Super Bowl not too long ago, beat Joe Burrow, not looking so hot no more. I'm not gonna say the cuss word because I'm really trying to not cuss anymore, guys. It's a struggle. So F them picks is what they were clamoring a couple years ago when everything was good. But now stuff ain't so hot no more. And, you're a bottom feeder pretty much. You have an aged quarterback in Matthew Stafford. I do like Stetson Bennett. He's one of the guys that I warned everybody pre-draft. Stetson Bennett could end up being the starting quarterback of the Rams by the end of the year. And he may end up being Brock Purdy 2.0. Mark my words. Clip this, please. Here's another clip for you cool cats and kittens out there, okay? And then we're going to the running backs. Cam Akers, dude's looking massive. I don't know if you've seen this cat with without his pads on, but golly, this dude, you talk about a dude who's put on some muscle. Like, he's always been big, right? But this cat is shredded now. He's probably coming back to prove some people wrong this year. We'll see. One of the only few running backs I've ever seen truck somebody and knock them out. I don't know if you remember that, but it was nasty. This dude packs a punch when you try to tackle him. So, however, I'm not really high on Cam Akers, guys. I mean, he's a prove it to me guy. You need to show me what you can do before I get all crazy about you. Zach Evans is the guy that I think people will be hitting the table if they pass on him this year in these dynasty drafts. You need to get you a share of Zach Evans. I think he has the potential to come in and take this role from Cam Akers if Cam Akers cannot stay healthy. Okay. If Cam Akers cannot stay healthy, remember what I said. I didn't say that he was going to come in and beat Cam Akers, but if Cam Akers goes down, Zach Evans should easily take this job. Wide receivers, nothing needs to be said about this guy. A record-setting wide receiver in Cooper Kupp. I think he still is that dude. He is a true number one superstar wide receiver, and there is no stopping him unless he gets hurt. Van Jefferson, show me more. Please, show me what you can do. I think if you did invest in Van Jefferson, this might be the year that it might pays off. We'll see, because he's number 2 on the depth chart now. So Puka Nakua, I don't really know how to say his name, but heard a lot of chatter about this guy. Could be a nice little sleeper for you cats in the 4th or 5th round if you want to snatch a wide receiver with some promise. I like Tutu Atwell. Apparently he's going to be used a lot more this year. They've been saying that he's been wowing everybody in camp. I think he's one that you guys could go maybe, pick up off waivers. I don't think that he is, at this point a superstar, but he could become a very good asset for you by the season's end next year. I won't get too much more into the wide receivers. I'll go to Higbee. Higbee is what he is at this point. He's consistent. He's been pretty consistent, but he hasn't put himself in the conversation to talk about a top 10, top 5 tight end, in my opinion. He's a great weak filler for me at tight end if you ain't got your starter in there, but don't go starting Tyler Higbee if you don't have to, because for me, he's just not that dude. He's not the guy that consistently can get you them points at tight end. Their defense, they lost Jalen Ramsey. Defense, hit a brick wall to me last year. They really, they still got Aaron Donald, but hey, man, it's for me, it's is what it is. And the Rams are going to be in 3rd place this year and could possibly be last. I don't even know. I might change.
Yeah, man, it's tough between the Rams and the Cardinals. A lot of the last couple of years, and now they're just kind of both kind of falling off the cliff a little bit. I'm not saying that Stetson Bennett's not going to be all right. I just think as a quarterback, you have to make good decisions. I just don't know if he is, and I'm talking off the field. He's, I don't know if you know this, but he went to school 5-6 years. He didn't graduate. How do you not graduate in 6 years? How is he still eligible? How are you eligible to play? I don't know, man. Maybe you should look at Georgia recruiting practices. Maybe they're giving out fake grades. I don't know, man.
If he's trying to get his PhD, that takes 8 years, bro.
He didn't even get his bachelor's. I'm just saying. And then the whole drinking and all that stuff, whatever. I'm not going to go too far into it, but yeah, I'm not a huge Bennett fan. Although I like his story, coming, underdog, small, working hard, whatever.
Don't listen to this guy. I'm rooting for you, bro.
But yeah, Cam Akers, dude, so much promise coming out of Florida State, and just hasn't quite put it together. Not very consistent, and he kind of reminds me a little bit of the Antonio Brown situation, or Antonio Gibson situation with the Commanders, where he's kind of in the doghouse. We don't really know the whole story. We don't know what happened, and he's not in the doghouse. And I don't know, man. There's too many questions. Zach Evans. I think he's I was surprised he went this late into the draft. I think 6th round. And, talent wise, there's questions regarding his character. He wasn't really the lead guy anywhere he played at, which, fair enough. The talent is ridiculous, though. I really like Zach Evans, so we'll see what happens there and who ends up being the guy there. And they also have some competition from Karen Williams, who was a draft pick last year. So we'll see what happens. But tough running rec room. Wide receivers, Van Jefferson's already 27. Hasn't really, not that that's old for a receiver, but he hasn't really done anything. I thought he was younger, to be honest. He hasn't really done anything at this point. I feel like if he was going to be something, he would have done it already. Obviously, Cooper Kupp, not much to say about him. He's probably one of the best top 5 receivers in the league when healthy. I really like Puka Nacua out of BYU. His size, speed, very, very good contested catch. We actually made a short about him. He had an amazing catch, like just kind of flipping 360 type situation. It was quite ridiculous in the back of the end zone. I really, really like him to emerge potentially as a number 2, even though he's listed at 3. I think he takes over Van Jefferson. I'm not a huge Jefferson guy. Atwell, we'll see what happens, man. I think nowadays the question of size is really, especially with the rules they have in place, limiting the defense. Size isn't that big of a deal. And this guy has so much speed. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he can take it to the next level. As far as tight ends, Higsby's been kind of inconsistent too. He's had a couple of kind of decent seasons, but he was supposed to be turned into something that he hasn't. A guy I like to bring up, I know he's kind of farther down into the depth chart, but I think Davis Allen out of Clemson, I think he has a really, really, really good chance to kind of move up that depth chart and kind of be a playmaker at that position who can be consistent. I hate to, throw this out there because I kind of mentioned it earlier with Jason Witten, but, he kind of reminds me a little bit of him too. Just the way he plays, not super, super fast, but, just makes plays and is very reliable. So that's a name to keep in your mind. Fantasy wise, when you're looking for tight ends, maybe he's a sleeper. Not a lot in front of him. So we'll see what happens there. And defensively, they lost a lot. So I don't know. They bet on the Super Bowl. They got it. They won, but it can you really F the picks now? Was it worth it? I don't know. I guess the ultimate goal is to win it. They did it, but now they're in trouble. You can't pay all those stars forever.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of the Saints from back when they had Breeze. Remember how they were just loading up their team with all these crazy contracts, and then now they're still paying for it still to this day on their salary cap. So you can want one thing and get it, and then after that it ain't so pretty, and then you lose your fan base. It's a fine line between being a Super Bowl contender and a consistent contender, and I think the key model for that has been the Kansas City Chiefs. Every year they're in it, they don't have to worry about salary cap issues. So, but anyways, I'm going to get up into the second place team here. And this is a surprise. This may surprise a lot of you. And it's your San Francisco 49ers, man. I'm going to explain myself because I know a lot of you are you're high. You're on drugs. You're on drugs, Byron. You're on drugs. No, I'm not. Okay? Because the Houston Texans snatched one of the most important pieces to this team when they took DeMeco Ryans away. It's tough losing your defensive coordinator. Nick Bosa's holding out, so he's mad right now, okay? He's mad. He wants a new contract. I'm not saying he's going to hold out during the season, but things aren't going too well right now in the San Francisco 49ers land. However, I'll stop. Brock Purdy has been trying to get healthy to see if he can start week 1. They say that he is going to be the team starter. He is going to be once he gets rolling, the guy for them. I don't blame them. I do not blame them for putting Brock Purdy at the top of this depth chart at what he showed last year in the playoffs was remarkable. To be Mr. Irrelevant and be what you are now is just awesome. I'm rooting for the guy. I like Brock Purdy a lot. Trey Lance could come in there and do some damage. I think that he could be trade bait. I think that if they are competing or on the borderline of winning this division, which could happen, I think these two top teams could easily flip-flop. But Trey Lance might go fetch you a star that you need, on your team during the middle of the season. Something happens, you go trade Trey Lance, you get your guy. So then you have Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, without a doubt, is the best running back, PPR running back, any type of running back you want to talk about in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey is that dude. He came back and showed everybody what he was and what he used to be last year, even after the trade to San Francisco, which in my eyes exploded him into oblivion of what he always should have been with Carolina. Elijah Mitchell's not bad backing him up there. Then you got Jordan Mason and Tyrion Davis-Price, or Tyrion, I don't know. Anyways, who are those guys when you have CMC? Doesn't matter. So that's how we view it in Dynasty too. I mean, the only other back I'd want in this whole backfield, if you don't own CMC, would be Elijah Mitchell, and that's just my opinion. But Deebo Samuel regressed last year. I think he's a bounce back, maybe a bounce back guy. I don't know, man. Brandon Ayuk has been making lots of noise in this offense. I think he's about to pass him. That's my opinion. I think Brandon Ayuk is about to pass Deebo as this team's superstar wide receiver. Deebo had his time in the sun, and, injuries just keep snatching this dude, man. So we'll see. Nothing to me south of those two that I would even invest in Dynasty. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't see nothing down there that I like. Jawan Jennings, Danny Gray, Ray McLeod, I'm sorry. I'm not even talking about those guys. So I'm going to go to the tight ends here. George Kittle. If George Kittle comes back to promise, this team's going to go to the playoffs. Okay? If he's out like he was last year, forget about it, because it ain't even close. Because the number one team in this division that we're about to name here in a minute got a lot better. A lot better. Not a little better, a whole lot better. So watch out. And this is why the San Francisco 49ers are going to be in second place here. So that's my pick for the NFC West in second.
I agree with you. And I think the question, and I know they cleared Purdy and he's going to, supposedly going to be the starter. We'll see what happens, dude. That's a tough injury to get back from. Sometimes you even come back better than you were, and sometimes you're just not the same. So we'll see what happens. Only time will tell as far as he gets going in the season. As far as Trey Lance, you mentioned him being trade bait. I've heard a lot of rumors about him potentially going to the Falcons. I don't know if that's true, or if someone's trying to make it true. I don't know. But that would be an interesting matchup or pickup for them.
Nasty. That would be so nasty.
If you think about his running ability, it'd be kind of like the Ravens of the NFC. The way the Falcons love to run the game, run the ball. If they had a quarterback like him, although Ritter's not a slouch when it comes to running, but obviously, Lance a little bit bigger. But
let me throw one trade out. I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me throw one trade. Guys, tell me I'm nuts. Trey Lance to the Las Vegas Raiders for Devontae Adams. Straight up. Would you do it? Would you do it?
That'd be crazy.
I think it would be perfect, because I feel like this team needs to go three wide, and they can't do that with Jawan Jennings. I'm sorry. But something to think about.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the reason I think also that we're thinking they're going to be second is, even though they found Purdy last year, up to that point, a lot of their team offensively, kind of struggled, especially like you mentioned, Debo. Kittle kind of struggled last year too, even though he's still elite. A lot of his points, fantasy wise, came a lot from touchdowns, which we all know that's not really reliable from year to year.
Yeah.
You want to be consistent with the catches and yards, and if you get the touchdowns, that's just icing on the cake. But when that's the majority of your points, that's kind of a red flag for me. And I think they also, you mentioned D'Amico Ryan's leaving. They also lost Ward to the Texans as well, who is a leader in that secondary. I'm not saying that their defense is going to suck all of a sudden, but I mean, obviously they lost Salah and they replaced him with D'Amico Ryans, and they were fine. Some might say they were better, but can you do that a third time? We'll see. I don't know. There's just a lot of there's a lot of questions. Yeah. There's just too many questions. So for me, they're the second, and they can still make the playoffs second, so we'll see.
Yeah, who you got here at the top? Who is it? Who's the top?
Well, obviously there's no denying it. It has to be Seattle. I think last year was Geno was kind of, even though he was the guy from the beginning, everyone was questioning who the quarterback is going to be, but Carroll knew, obviously, and he had all of season to kind of prepare to be the guy. But I think what he did last year, gave him a lot of confidence. And I think he continues. He had a great season last year. He's probably one of the most efficient quarterbacks last year in the NFC, if not the league. Yeah. One of the most, not the most. And he really, really came into his own. And I think this year he's going to even put more of himself into this offense. They got better. They got another weapon at the running back position. They got another weapon in the wide receiver room with JSN and Charbonnet. So, their offense is going to be only better than it was last year. And it was pretty good. So, that's impressive. And their defense is was already kind of making plays. They got Witherspoon with, what's that guy's name? The other corner from UTSA, Woolen. I know he's hurt, but that's a good 1-2 combo. We're talking about, having a elite room in the corner, even though they're young.
Jamal Adams is back there, bro. Jamal Adams is a game changer, dude.
Jamal Adams and Diggs. They have Diggs too back there as safety. They have a really, really, and they got what's his name back too from linebacker. Jeez.
Linebacker. They got Wagner, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, they got Wagner back. I know he's not the same as he used to be, but he's still Wagner. So I think this team overall is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, man. Seattle Seahawks, baby. We're Legion of Boom. We called it. We knew they were restocking, and as soon as you give a coach like Pete Carroll a glimpse, and you go get a wide receiver like JSN. And Charbonnet, man, forget it, dude. It's the Seahawks division to lose, in my opinion. And I think it's all of our opinions here at DFL. And you got anything else before I take us out of here?
No, that's it, man.
Hey, guys, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're all over the place now, just like these Seahawks are finna be this year. They're finna beat them up. Anyways,
we're almost at 100. We're almost at 100 on YouTube.
Hey, almost at 100, y'all. Just hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. It's real easy. That's all we ask, man. We love pumping these videos out for y'all, and we're going to come bring you the heat week in and week out, whether you like it or not. So, hey, as always, baby, Dynasty Football out.